Hello, everyone, and happy Father's Day to all our fathers. Today is your special day. We celebrate and uplift you today. Welcome to another episode of Parenting with the VM Foundation. I'm Nakita West, manager of the Victoria Mutual Foundation. And in celebration of Father's Day, we'll be talking about the role of a father. And with me today is Mark Rodney, father, parent mentor, and social worker. Great to have you, Mark. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, tell us a little bit about your journey into fatherhood.
Well, my journey was somewhat a young journey. I started at 16. Yes, at 16 years old, I became a dad.
Okay.
But it had actually taught me to be a loving father because my father was actually involved in my life. So at 16, I knew that I had to be involved in my kids' life.
Okay, that's good. A good example.
I'm now a father of 4, 3 girls, 1 boy, ranging from 17 to 27.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm very proud of them.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your children. So,
The oldest one, she is called Peter Gay, and she gives me 2 grandchildren, and they are such lovely kids.
a granddad already?
I'm a granddad already. And my other child, her name is Angel. We call her Angel at least, because Peter Gay is not really the first one. Her name is Rashanique. Angel is Celine. Then we have Michaela, we call her Mickey. And there's Mark too.
Mark too.
Yes. Because they share the same name, so he's Mark, he's my car.
No, I
Yes, yes. And he's a nice child. I couldn't ask for another son. And everybody who knows him wish he was their son.
Wow,
He's a great child. You don't have to tell him to do. He is the one who actually spearheaded his education. He is the
At
one
17?
that pushes himself.
Wow.
At the age of 12, not 12, at the age of 11, going to 6th grade, I actually came home and his friends were saying, Mark, why Mark too not coming outside? So I was curious. I went and I asked him, why you not going outside? The friends said, I'm not seeing him. Said, Daddy, exam time, no. And he's just like that. He takes his time to engage in his schoolwork. Play doesn't come until when schoolwork is done. He's a great footballer, and he's been hounded by St. George's from 7th grade, and he's not playing no football.
Wow. So he's very clear and focused and know what. And you must have had some influence.
Yes, I did, because at the age of 33, I actually got back into schooling, because at the age of 16, getting a child, I was nowhere near school. But at the age of 33, I actually got the opportunity to go to UA, and those are some of the things that they saw. And he, for one, actually took that to mean that if my father can do this at this age, and I always tell him that don't wait until my age to actually be focused. Because if I was focused at 16, maybe I would have, yes. And he always...
You are a role model for him. He's seen you, study, or he saw you studying and saw that you took it serious. And
can I tell you that all parents are role models for their children, if they like it or not, be it the good, the bad, and the difference. I went to a school and I was doing a parenting seminar. And when I said, who see their father as a role model? One child get up and said, I saw my father as a role model, and all the other children start bickering him. So I said, why? And they said, sir, him father a gunman. So I asked him, why is your father as a role model if he's a gunman? He said, sir, me know so I'm not going to be like him.
Okay.
So no matter what type of profession or which way you lead, you're a role model for your child.
We influence them.
We influence them. So try to be the best role model.
So now you've been involved in some parenting training. You're a parent mentor with the National Parenting Support Commission and also a social worker. Tell us about the type of father you were before being exposed to that type of parent training in the parenting mentor.
I was always involved, but I was kind of boisterous. I would say anything at or to my child. I never used to speak with my child. I would always be grumpy with them because, situations, so socio-economic situations We as persons who are on the lesser spectrum, we try to take out our frustrations on our kids. But getting to the parenting seminars, I actually learned how to conquer those emotions. We did anger management, we did profiling, a lot of things, self-assurance. We did all the self-traits to just ensure that you know how to deal with your kids.
So looking at you first and then how you can now assist your kids or support your kids, depending on what's going on with them.
Yes, because first it was, the rude boy style, because we grew up in the ghetto, so it was more a rude boy style. And then to see you have to conform to more a shirt and pants or a tight thing.
So you had to go through that kind of transformation.
Because I became a father of not only my kids, but kids in general. As a parent mentor, it's a whole island-wide thing.
Yes.
So you don't go portray yourself as this rude boy type to children because you influence kids. And one of the things I see with a lot of parents nowadays, they tend not to get involved. I know that parents now are actually not as conducive as when we were children. But if you see them and you don't say nothing, I can give you an example. As a parent mentor, I was coming to a session and I saw some kids on the road and I was talking to them and I said, you need to behave on the road. But they didn't know me, so I said, me come up to school, Not really thinking of going to their school, but their school was actually in my community. I was called to the school the next morning, and when I was going up the stair, I saw about 3 guys running me down, 3 little kids running me down. Sir, 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 you really come to tell Pabby? I said, no, I don't really come to tell on you, but I'm just showing you that you must always look out for what you are doing in spaces because you don't know who is in your space.
Right.
So they didn't know that I actually work with the school as a parent mentor. So these are things, we see things at times that we don't tend to step in. So when they see that we as parents, you don't have to be their parents, but we as parents don't see or say anything to them, they think that they are just scotch-free and they get away with everything. We're supposed to stop seeing the bad that children do and laugh it off as amusement. That's one of the greatest breakdown in the family. We see the children cursing the bad word. Like, it's so nice, see? How can something that is immoral sound nice? Coming from a child, you think it sounds nice, it doesn't.
Tell us about your own relationship with your father. You also indicated that he was around.
Yes, unfortunately, I lost my father at 18, but I had a great relationship with him. He actually is the backbone of what I do right now because my father was that loving kind father. He treated me and my cousins as they were his son. Right now, my aunt, she's actually my mom because that's how she treats me. No one who don't know her as my aunt thinks she's my mom. Because up to today, my father has been gone for 20 odd years, but she's the one that is the backbone of my family right now. So we grew up that way. We learned to, the neighbor next door is your uncle. So that's how we grew.
So back to the village,
Back
yes.
to the village.
So your relationship with your father was a good one.
Yes, it was a good one. I don't tend to tell persons he was mentally ill, but he was loving. He had a mental spell between August to November. We'd mash up the place, take me from the house any hours at night, and we had to go. Not had to go, but I chose to. As a child, he was my number one. Nobody to me like my father. So I would go to him and go with him anywhere. Yeah, so that's how we interacted. And it had a lot to do because I was that daddy's boy, so I tried to be daddy to my kids.
So your dad was present and loving, and you now fashioned that with your children.
Because my kids don't really live with me, but I'm their number one supporter. Yes.
So you're absolutely present, and they know that and feel you. Okay. But growing up in the inner city, what can you describe some of the relationship other children had with their fathers?
Well, I used to see fathers who weren't around, but they tried to be there. I see fathers who never really tried to play a role, but most of who I knew, their father was there, even if it was a broken home. Fathers were there because As I said, there's a movement that said children need fathers, fathers really need children. And it's an emotional thing. Some persons don't even know how emotional it is for a father to not having his child beside him, not being able to access moments with his child.
That's powerful because, usually, in our society, you hear a lot of things about our fathers. And I'm happy to hear that you saw, at least when you were growing up, you saw that, fathers were present. And also fathers also want their children and want to access their children. And I'm happy to hear that from a father. So what were some of the challenges that you experienced as a father, and how did you overcome them?
Well, some of the challenges was being immature because I started young. So some of the challenges was not really knowing what to do, but just doing what we were taught. Because most parenting is course. It's what I learned from my parents that I bring down to my kids. So that was one of the challenges. The other challenge was actually mainly financial because you want your child to grow up in the best environment possible. And to do that, you have to have some cash. And I can say that to any father. Make sure you plan. You have your plans.
Because they're not cheap.
They're not cheap.
Yes, if you want to provide
If you want to
for
provide
them.
for them, you have to plan so you don't fail. Because they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you have to have that plan in place. You're getting a house, you save for that house. But if you're getting a child, you got to save for that child also. So those are some of the things.
And so what were some of your plans as well that you had to eventually, put in place?
Well, I had to actually start working at a tender age. I actually tried to get work and brought my age to 18 and it didn't work because I had to provide a birth certificate, which I didn't have. I only had one that says 16. So those are some of the challenges that we had to experience.
No, there's some common misconceptions about, what the role of a father is. What are some of those that, you probably heard?
And one of the greatest misconceptions is only thinking that you are providing financially for your child. A father is a provider, a protector, a guide, a teacher. Father encompass all those that the mother really does and more. Because every child needs a father, as I said before. Because without a father for that sternness, you don't know where your child would end up.
I like that. I like that you highlighted a father is a provider. He's a protector, he's a guide, he's a teacher. So it's not just one role any father is boxed in. And so even though the mother plays some of those roles as well, but together, the mother and the father taking care of that child, we have all these roles kind of supporting, almost like a support system.
Yes, because sometimes, both parents just have the father as that money bag. The father will send the money weekend, and the father have to say, "Maybe send the money weekend." That's all he does. He just send the money. You understand? They don't really, because in our day and age now, once a mother and a father aren't together again, everything break down. The child doesn't get that much love from the father if the father is not in the house or the mother is not in the house anymore, because it's a separation. So that child becomes that wedge in that separation.
Tell us more about your experience as a parent mentor and a social worker.
I was introduced to the parenting by Joytown Foundation under the tutelage of Major Richard Cook. And being a part of that, I went just to sit in a session. And after sitting in a session, I was asked to come for some training. I got some training from Omar Davis, the MP of our constituency. And I was involved in the Basic Initiative project as a parent trainer. Then I was introduced to the National Parenting Support Commission on its inception, and I became a parent mentor, now a parent mentor leader. And I was also trained by CSJP as a community parent trainer. Yes. So it all, you have to love what you do. You have to have a passion for it because it's all voluntary. Persons might hear you mention how much caps you have, but they wouldn't know. It's voluntary, but the perks is seeing that you can impact persons. We have a saying that it's best to do good it's best to do nothing than to do good with a bad attitude. So if you think you're gonna do good and then you feel like you're gonna push it on somebody that you did it for them, don't do it.
Don't do it.
So that's our taking going into this. We actually formed an organization called Fathers United for Change out of this parent initiative, and it's been going good. And I am second vice president, and
What are some of the things that they do?
we do the social intervention. We actually have a social enterprise. We were funded by Comet, USAID, to do a wholesale. So we bought a 40-foot container, retrofitted it, and it's now a wholesale that actually helps the community.
Wow, and these are fathers within the community
Yes,
who
fathers within
that's very commendable to see that you guys are keeping this village concept and fathers are coming together. But what I like is what you had said about, being 16 and being a parent, you really just took on what you saw. But then you were exposed to the parenting training, and not that you weren't a present father, you were, but all that happened is that the parent training gave you some tools and gave you some resources to kind of sharpen what you did as a parent and made the parenting better for you.
Because without training, you do things willy-nilly. You shout at them, you throw things at them, you blame them for things that one of the most common things is you look like your father, you're coming like your mother. Those are some of the things that we throw at our kids. And it tends to break them. We're not knowing sometimes, because guess what? When we say things to them, we don't stand up to see what is their reaction. Or sometimes they just wheel away and go to their rooms and we don't know what they are doing. These are why so much suicide on kids are actually afoot, because they think that, me are the cause of what my mother and father got through. That's a lot of time. So I actually diffused a situation once. I was called that a parent wanted a mentor to talk to, and they said I was the one that was recommended. I met this person at KFC with her son. He was 16 at the time, and she had a 4-year-old daughter. And she was saying, he not behave himself. I be things him go on with that one bug or something. She want somebody to talk to him. When we sat down and I said, all right, mommy, give me a little time with him. And I asked him, say, sir, from she have the baby there, me no count. And this child grows to know that the mother puts so much emphasis on her that anything him do, that child throws tantrum. And the mother don't find out what is this for. She start hit on him, curse him, and all that. So he got so frustrated, feeling that he's the problem. So he keeps saying, you know, love me because I not see you doing what you used to do to me. You start beating me now through this child is here. So those are the things he even contemplated suicide. So these are some of the things, and I had to tell him, say, guess what? We learn about this as older children. I went through the same thing. Because as a child, at 16, I didn't grow up with my mom. I grew with her till I was 5. But the 1980 election, it caused a great uproar in Western Kingston. I'm from Trenchtown. The violence was there, so she said, come, ship me over to Rallington Town to where my father lived with my grandmama and aunts there. And everything changed because I don't see this lady. I am going to school. I'm going to Kingston College now, and my friend might tell me, say, Mark, you know your mother there here? No phone. And by the time the next 2 days I go to Trenchtown, your mother gone yesterday, you know. Those are the things I grew up with. I used to get the goodies and the clothes and all of that, but it wasn't all.
So that is not enough, just to show.
Yes.
I mean, and that's such a significant difference that the mother played that role, and that wasn't enough for you. So just imagine if we were to compare or to look at our society where we sometimes box our fathers into that role, just to show it really isn't enough, and our fathers do play a critical role in our children's lives.
And it doesn't matter what state you're in, mindset or financial, it doesn't matter what state you're in. Your child will always love you, a mother or a father. You have to do something drastic for that child to turn away from you.
What is your encouragement to other fathers?
Well, my encouragement to other fathers is actually being there. Be present. I have a saying when I go to seminars, I say, when your child next birthday come up, don't give him a present. Give him a presence. Be there for him. because that is the main thing. And don't stay on the sideline and criticize fathers. Get on the movement and try to see how you can encourage a father to be a father. Because it doesn't take much to be a father, you know, but it takes a lot to actually represent as a father. Because any man can get a woman pregnant and becomes a father. But the role of a father is very intense. And if you're not there for the long haul, it don't make sense.
Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing your story, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Parenting with the VM Foundation. Parents, if you need further assistance, we have partnered with the National Parenting Support Commission, UNICEF, and Fight for Peace International for the COVID-19 Parenting Support Helplines. All you have to do is click on the link in this post and access the numbers. I am Nikita West. Keep safe and happy Father's Day.